What's going on, guys? Derek from Wilson Audio Labs back once again with another genius amp. That's right, this is not the little one we tested before, this is the big mama jama. Check out the difference in size. The G2-2600.1Dx. Not sure where the extra K came from this one. 5200 watts max, high-end black frame amplifier by Genius Audio. This amp is currently listed on the Genius Audio website for $616.95. You can check the link in the video description to see how much it is on Amazon. And here is the amp in the box. Very cool box it comes. Shows you the guts and everything on the box. The box probably cost 20 bucks. This amp was sent to me by Genius, but this is not a sponsored video, just so you know. And right off the bat, this bass knob is the world's worst bass knob. The potentiometer is extremely difficult to turn. I was not a fan of that. Look, you get a Genius sticker, you get a manual, put the sticker on your car, people think you're smart and not a big dummy. Here, the exterior of the amp, you can see the large 5200 watt max logo here, which we're not a fan of anything that says max power. Overall, the amp is just kind of different looking to me. I really don't like the design. Of course, you know, aesthetics are up to you. You may like it, you may not, but to me, it's just not very visually appealing. On one end, we have inputs for RCAs. We have the bridge in and out. This is strappable. Then there's a gain adjustment, a variable subsonic filter, variable low pass filter, a G bass, because you got to get your G bass on. And then there's also the remote connection on the right, and a power and protect LED, and this is designed by Genius, made in Korea. So those of you who like Korean amplifiers, here you go. Here's one for you. On the opposite side, we have double speaker outputs, even though this is a mono amp, and you get channel A, channel B. Those are via 8 gauge. You only can hook up one, or you can hook up both. It doesn't matter. They're strapped together. And then you have the 1.0 inputs for power and ground, and you have the remote terminal. Now these are separated enough where you can use the dual input adapter, so that is nice. According to the box, the rating's 1550 watts at 2 ohms, 2600 watts at 1 ohm, 14.4 volts. We will check that out coming up soon. As far as the dimensions go, almost 21 inches by 9 inches, so it is a big amplifier, especially for 2600 watts. As far as the height, 2 inches or 50 millimeters. Now we're going to fire up the good old SMD Demo Engineering Amplifier Dyno to check the RMS power output. Before we do that, make sure you smash the thumbs up. Check the links in the video description to pick up some Wilson Audio merch so you can be cool like Big D. Here is a picture of the amp showing you the dual input adapters from Toolmaker. And we also have both of the speaker terminals hooked up, so we have maximum connection for current flow. First up, 4 ohms mono. No ratings are provided, so we're going to test it out and see what we get. Our ending voltage is a little high here, but you'll see 743 watts, 14.74 volts. We don't know if that's good, if that's bad. I don't know. It's 743 watts though. That was to 1% distortion. Now, uncertified takes us up to the clipping point, so we expect to get a little bit more than 474. Let's see if it proves me right. Or 747, I'm sorry, I got it all backwards. 886 watts at 14.5 volts. So yes, it does more, uncertified as expected. Next up, we'll use our ninja skills to reset the dyno to the dynamic mode. We will try a 40 hertz dynamic pulse track here. Over 900 watts, you can see 924 at 14.5 volts. Now, as far as efficiency goes, check this out, 212%. What is going on here? Oops, Big D used the wrong mode on the clamp.
You big dummy.
It's all right, guys, not to worry. Big D ran the test again with the clamp set in the proper mode, which is DC. We're measuring DC current, not AC current. Look at the wattage, 743, exactly what we got before. So that's boss mode, 14.44 volts. 74.2% efficient. So there you go. Not such a big dummy after all. 2 ohms is rated 1550 watts at 14.4 volts. Let's try it out. See what we get. Certified. Should have a little bit more than 14.4 volts here. And we're just a little bit shy, 1507. I would consider that, that's close enough to passing in my opinion. Very close to the rated power. Next up, we will try it in the uncertified mode, which is going to take us up to clipping point. And I expect we'll get that 1550 plus some. And I am correct. Soothsayer D, looking into his crystal ball, 1594 watts at 14.58 volts, just slightly higher than the 14.4 it's rated at. Dynamic, let's send a 40 hertz pulse tone into the amp, see how it reacts, if it's happy, if it's mad, if it's upset at us. 1636 watts at 14.72. So I had to run the test again to get the efficiency numbers, and we got a little less power, 1428, and it measured 78.2% efficient. So next up, we're going to do 1 ohm, rated 2600 watts at 14.4. Here we go. Can we get it? Can we get more? Oh no, 2322 at 14.52. Yes, my friends, I must say I was shocked at that and actually ran the test several times at 1 ohm certified and was not able to get much over 2350 watts for that. So let's try the uncertified test, see if we can get closer to the 2600. And here you go, 2454 at 14.3. So we're still a little bit off. It's not a huge amount uncertified, but the certified test, yeah, it's a little disappointing. I mean, actually very disappointing. But let's try the dynamic test. And you can see here, dynamically, given enough voltage, we definitely reached that number, 2648 watts. So we'll talk a little bit more about what I think about the power ratings and all that here in just a little bit. But for now, let's look at the efficiency, 72.4%. That's about what we expect at 1 ohm for a Class D amp. So nothing superb, nothing bad here. Now, let's talk about the results. And I put not quite there because it wasn't quite there, not only at 2 ohms, but also at 1 ohm using the certified test. And yeah, it's 89% of the rated power or 11% shy. Based on component tolerances, I would expect 5% maybe. 11% is a little much. So next up, let's check out, see what's inside. Took the 6 screws off, checked the bottom plate. You can see quite a bit of input filtering there. We'll go over each part here kind of slowly so you can see. This is the output section. You can see the chokes there, also the rail capacitors. We'll show those up a little bit closer. And there are the transformers and the input filtering capacitors. We'll take a look at those, and they are 35 volt, 2200 microfarad. And there are 18 total if you have a hard time with multiplication. So that's a lot of little input filter caps. 3300 microfarad, 100 volt for the rail capacitors. There's 4 of these total. And they're 105 degrees Celsius. Of course, the board says made in Korea, Genius Car Audio. This is a very similar design to a lot of other amplifiers. And when I showed this to my friend Sam over at BearVids, he could not believe this card here. He said, that is ancient. Old school Class D technology. So I took out the DC Audio 3.5K just to show you guys how big this Genius Audio amplifier is. The DC Audio does almost 4,000 watts, so it's quite a bit more powerful. It's also more expensive, so don't get me wrong. You can see it has more rail capacitors there in the middle. It has less input filtering, but it kind of doubles up on the transformers and has them a little bit smaller, so it's a little bit more efficient that way. So they're not hugely different in the design, but yeah, Genius Audio, for the size, I would expect it to do more power. So you guys wanted me to bring this mode back, so we're going to do the Do It Bump Dough section, checking out with the Savards. We have them wired down to 1 ohm, so let's find out. Does it make the subs thump? All right, let's feel the bass. Part 4, Genius Audio 2600. right, so that answers the question. It bumped though. Here's a thermal image. You can see the driver card was hot. There's some resistors there, and also the chokes on the far side here are very hot. So let's move over to what part of this amp is genius. It has a variable subsonic filter. All terminals are Phillips head, so you don't need to have multiple different Allen keys because Allen's tired of you taking his keys. It's easy to use dual input adapters, lots of aluminum to dissipate the heat, handles below 1 ohm loads, which if you stick around till after this video's over, I'm going to show you some stuff in the special features. Now, what parts are big dummy? It didn't meet its rated power 1 ohm certified by 11%. It has cheap RCAs, the world's worst bass knob. It's huge for a 2300 watt amp. The aesthetics are not my favorite. And what is this max power stuff? Why are we still doing this, especially with a big amp like this? Not a fan. I do want to thank Genius Audio for sending over this amplifier for testing. I would like for more companies to start doing this so I don't have to buy as much stuff. You're going to see, you're going to get a true review by me. You're not getting any preference. I'll tell you what I like. I'll tell you what I don't like. So it just makes everything better for everybody. That's the way that I'll do these, and that's the way I'll keep doing them. I do appreciate you guys watching, commenting, liking as always. Make sure you stick around till after these little end credits because I will show some extended low ohm testing, and we'll see if this amp can handle down to a 0.5 ohm. So if you want to see that, hang around. But until then, we're going to thank our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/oldschoolstereo. You guys rock. You guys keep me moving, keep me doing videos. I greatly appreciate your support. Special thanks to Stuart, Travis, Jesus Tires, Tomcat, T-Clock, John Hitch, Byron, Big D. I'm out of here. All right, Genius Audio 2600, we're going to try 0.8 ohms. It's obviously not rated at this level. We're going to try certified all the way up to dynamic. Certified first, 40 hertz. See what it does. All right, we got right at 2600 watts, 2599 at 14.62. $27.73, right at 14.4. All right, let's try the dynamic run. All right, dynamic burst, 40 hertz, 0.8. $31.01, 14.6. Let's try this Genius Audio 2600 at 0.67 dynamic. Here we go. $33.72 at 14.6. All right, let's try 0.5 ohm dynamic burst for this Genius Audio 2600 watt amp. Hopefully it doesn't blow up. Let's see, 40 hertz, here we go. Protect. Protect. Let's check. Yep, it's in protect. That's what it should do. So let's just check it here. Turn it off. Turn it back on. Uh-oh. Didn't come out of protect. That's not good. All right, so once I remove that 0.5 ohm load and turn the amp back on, it's fine. Green power light comes back on. But yeah, this one, it might scare you if you tried it too low of an ohm load and it won't come out of protect, but sometimes you just have to cycle the power and disconnect your speakers and make sure you're good.